Now, the rest of the story.
And this is something that hasn't happened since, at least 2012. Big difference between 2012 and now is I had access to silage. It's not the case anymore. Not that I really regret it. Part of me thinks it would be nice to have the silos up and running, but having that feed bunk up at Rockville set up like I do, I'm hoping is adequate alternative to having to deal with the uprights or silage in general, and having that extra set of machinery that we have to maintain. Granted, if we did any silage, it'd probably be a New Holland pull type hooked to the 4640, and I'd say even just two chopper boxes, two good ones. And so what if the chopper has to wait a little bit for as much silage as we would be doing? That's irrelevant, because I don't see us going that route. Round bales seem to be doing us all right. So the cows are off the pasture pretty well entirely. They've been off the back side of the farm now since July, and I've had them locked in here now for a little over a week. So they've been out of the front pastures for a week and a half. So they're purely eating off of our winter stockpile. And the rain we have gotten, it's not to say that the back pastures haven't actually come up since the cow's been off. There's actually rain. You see just that sliver of horizon. There's actually rain falling. They're calling for rain tonight and tomorrow. The ground is so dry, I don't think it's really going to do anything. But going through and feeding the cows right now, my goals are, with whatever rain we have gotten since I pulled the cows off the pasture, and the rain that we may get yet, it's allowing the pastures to come back up, and I'm not planning on letting the cows back out until after harvest. Because once we get harvest out, I'll let them out in the field. That alfalfa strip right there, it's about 10 acres. I'm going to let it go. I mean, there's nothing there. There's not enough there to justify even cutting it really anyway. And the cows can harvest it themselves, save the wear and tear on the machinery. And I think there's going to be enough material the cows can sift through out in the field between the waterways that I've taken hay off of, so they got all that new growth coming back, the stalks and alfalfa. We'll be sitting all right, even having to feed the cows here for the last month or so. The added mouths of the calves that are running around down here are part of it, but here is a good example of a wide calving window. So here is clearly an older calf, one of the first ones that calved, and that right there, I can't see him because he's right behind the cow, but I have a newborn here that is 3 days old. A very wide window for these guys calving, largely because I couldn't get the bulls out because throughout the month of December. The bulls were in with the cows longer than they should have, which ultimately was a good thing, because I think we were only running on one bull at the time when we had two bulls in here, and it allowed that one bull more time to at least get the job done. But now that we have 4 bulls currently in here, yes, this is Rocky, they are on a fixed schedule to be pulled August. They were put in August 15th, and we'll be pulling the bulls November 1st, approximately, depending on where we're at in fall field work and everything. And I'll be moving the bulls back up in with my cows for another 60 days. So at least we're getting more usage out of them, being able to split them up through all the cow herds. And some of these guys are going to be getting called off here. I mean, age is a thing, but we have a lot of young stock that are coming up that'll be able to replace some of these older cows. And I think actually the herd down here is definitely improving too, I feel. The calves, they'll be weaned off probably December. That goes to show you how dry it is though. I just helped the guy pull his cow-calf pairs off the pasture this morning so he can wean his calves off. And that's about a month earlier than what he normally does. And the pastures, his pastures look just as bad as ours. There's nothing on them. Well, they're being actively grazed, but his pastures, they're used up. And he's like us. He's got a couple farther back pastures away from his front pastures that'll be letting the cows out onto once he gets the calves weaned off, which they did today. And myself, for how I'm sitting, my cows and calves, I was planning on weaning them off November 1st is what I'm figuring. Weaning them off earlier, I don't really think is gonna have an effect on me one way or the other, just for the simple fact that I have to feed, supplement, put bales in for all of my cattle, which is no big deal. That's my operation. That's what I planned for. So leave the calves on mom, and I at least have access to the pasture. They have more room to lay out and graze. And overall, I see my calves every day, 365 days a year, ideally. And it doesn't seem like they're growing that much until I look at the calves my friend has weaned off today, and mine are primo right in line with his. There is a genetics issue, I feel, because with mine in general, I bought 8 bred heifers. Well, I have a small calf that seems like he's stunted, or he just seems like he's smaller than everybody else. I mean, he's got a full belly, and he's definitely not struggling to get feed through him. I went back to my records because I keep track of when everyone was born, who their parents were or their mother was and everything. And it just so happens that the calf that I'm feeling he's the smallest one of the group. He's actually the oldest calf of the group. But I don't know who his daddy is because he is out of one of the heifers that I bought. So we're just going to let things run the way they've been running, and we'll see how things pan out once we wean them off and we send them down the road. They're not getting corn yet. If I weaned them off, I'd be giving them, the only difference between weaning them off early is I'd have them on feed for 3 months versus 2 months before I plan on selling them. And I got the corn. I actually have the corn set aside from last year, and I haven't burned through it. But if I had the time to set up a creep fence, a creep panel, and try to get my calves to eat some grain out of the feed bunk while they're still in their moms, I would. The goal is to do that for next year for sure. I mean, I'm looking at ideally, hopefully, over 40 calves for next year in the lot on hand versus the 14 I have right now. So it's not that I wouldn't like doing it now. It's just my time is being stretched awfully thin. Not from a lack of management, it's just there's so much that I'm trying to do all at once, and you can only get so much progress done, because the plan is, with the rain that we're supposedly going to get tomorrow, I went and looked at the valley again today. The hay in the actual bottom, the second cut Reed Canary, is up to my thighs, and up to my hip. So I think there's going to be a pretty good mat of material down there, and right now I'm going to be hyper focused on at least getting that made, because the second we go through and cut it, they actually pulled the rain chances out of the forecast. Surprise, surprise. And after this rain goes through on Monday, cut it on Tuesday, windrow part of it, like the heavy stuff. And I'm probably going to lay out flat the lighter material just so I don't have to ted everything. But the plan is, on the heavier material, I'll get it tedded out after we windrow it. Let the ground is holding moisture, I mean, surprisingly well. And I'll get that material at least tedded out so we get a uniform mat of material that can dry out. So hopefully we can get it made within a few days of getting it cut. And once we get it baled, I got plenty of storage to set it inside. And I'm hoping that I can tell you guys that I'm sitting very good on feed for the year. And from what it looks like, just what's down there, I should. I'm actually pretty comfortable saying that. And I'm actually just leaning a little bit towards, I may actually have a little bit of material I could sell. Not a boatload, but if I get close to like 250 plus, I could see letting a couple loads of hay go just for some cash flow. So, that's it. This is my Sunday night. The cows needed feed, and it makes sense to have them locked in like they are. I mean, with calves on their sides, but there's enough lot space here. They're not laying in mud. I just had to lock them out of here so I could at least put the bales in without them getting out on me, you know. But they might have a little bit of rough going or tough going until harvest, and then we kick them back out on the pastures. My only issue letting them back out on the back pastures now is with the amount of material that's out there, which isn't much. I think the cows would have it pretty well mowed off in 2 weeks anyway. So I'd rather dump some feed to them now, which we're actually Mom. This is Mom and Dad's feed. This is Mom and Dad's. This is their herd I'm managing, and they're actually sitting really well on feed. So I'm comfortable feeding them now for the benefits of having more feed to graze them on through this fall, because if we don't have much snow cover, it gives them that much more time they can actually graze the field. So, all right, talk to you later.